All right, morning everybody. Slava Isus Christus. Got a few quick announcements. I'm going to dedicate and devote this next 40 minutes to my aunt who died out in California. Her name is Eva Dorish. 100 years and 100 days old. Beautiful lady, my mother's favorite sister. And she was the most gentle, kind, loving. I'll be in the seminary, you know, and every month maybe she'd send me $1 or 50 cents or something she could afford. And she was just, you know, she'd see you from a mile away and start smiling and put her hands out. Beautiful lady. And the funeral's going to be this week. I don't know if I can get out there. I'm working on some arrangements, but we're going to dedicate this story to. Come on up here, Doc. You got a good seat for you, reserved seat here. To my Aunt Evelyn. Also, we got beautiful prizes. We're going to try to give them out either during the hour or afterwards. I got some persimmons, we got pumpkins, we got everything here today. And we have a beautiful set of full-service dinnerware. If you need some dinnerware, if somebody next door needs some dinner, if you have a chance to see the pieces, yes. You can see them over here. They're gold-rimmed, and if you're going to have a big turkey dinner, you can have 10, 15 different settings, because we're going to give them all away. And I don't want to destroy them. Because we used them in the hall for 10 years, but now we're getting sturdier stuff, because when we have affairs in the hall with young people and stuff, they break everything. These are very delicate, very beautiful. So now the Verizon show is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, channel 48, and the Comcast show, the same show, is 28, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
What time?
5 p.m. So you can see it at 5 o'clock, and then it's on Saturday at 2 p.m. Catch it on Saturday too. Saturday 2 p.m. Someone asked me for a book. I have it here. Let me know who it is. I'd be happy to sign it for you. Now we're going to talk today about computers. Everybody loves computers. Everybody here got a computer, right? Everybody, Dottie has 3 of them, in case you didn't. Let me ask Dottie a question. She's a happy lady. When do you think computers were invented?
I got my first computer in 1980 or 81.
81, so there were computers around?
Yeah.
What if somebody were to tell you that a type of computer was alive and well 2,000 years ago? You would scratch your head, or you say you can't believe it.
Well,
Then won't be it. No, I understand you're correct, right?
There were abacuses which did time.
Well, that's a calculator, that's right.
A calculator.
But that was a calculator. But there is a type of computer I'm going to talk about today that's the most amazing thing when you hear my explanation. Because computers are the greatest invention in modern times. Boris has half a dozen at home, right? You crazy. You spend all your days on a computer? You have 2? That's good. That's a start, right?
There's more than 2, Father. Right?
You more than 2. You got Ukrainian computers, you got Polish computers, you got every language computers. And computers were, as you say, a modern invention. But there was an invention somewhere around 2,000 years ago that, to my mind, was the original computer. And today we call it the Holy or Divine Liturgy. And I'll explain this. I know you don't seem to believe me so far, but you wait and let me know at the end of the hour if you're convinced. For example, let me ask you just a general question here. What do you like about computer? What's the main task of a computer? You go on that computer so that you can get what? Information. There you go. Can I write on this board here? Let me see. Not too well, right? All right. Information. You're right. Exactly right. Yeah, here's my markers here. Let's see if you can write on that board. Everybody goes there. They're looking. They want to find the latest score. Penn State game last night. I fell asleep. I don't know who won. Bump, bump, bump. Computer. I got the answer right. What's it? 50 to 10 or something? 40. You see the game?
Oh, yeah.
So information. We're going to put information right here. Info. Information is why we go there. One of the primary reasons. And what kind of information? You get the weather. You get the sports, right? And if you want to bet on the Pittsburgh Steelers today, who they play? Kansas City again, I hope. No, you can find out what the Westchester's doing in their rugby match, right, George? You check it every day. Computers give you the weather. They give you the time of day. The science, any question in science, you can Google up, the standard variation between 2 independent variables. I mean, you can find anything you want on a computer, and any kind of investment advice, job-seeking advice. Computers are wonderful for a store of information. The divine liturgy, right? In the year somewhere around 300, when it began to develop pretty well, was created to provide information. Now you're wondering how that works. Let me just give you a rundown. At the beginning of the divine liturgy, the information we pass along is the Old Testament. We sing the Psalms of David. We talk about Adam and Eve in some of the Psalms. We talk about the Old Testamental times and the flood of Noah when we have Vespers and Matins. We talk about all the things in the Old Testament at the beginning of divine liturgy. And then when we get to the epistle, we switch to the New Testament, St. Paul's letters, right? Now in the New Testament, we're talking about Jesus and Paul's travels and what he says and what he does and what he witnessed and how he fell off his horse on his head, hit his head, right? And he saw the light and it was Jesus and asking, why are you persecuting me? And they're telling the whole story in those epistles that you hear in church today, the little girl was reading. And then finally we get to the gospel. More information. Now we're hearing from the primary apostles of Jesus, the eyewitnesses, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, giving us all this. What did Jesus say? What did he mean? What did he do? Where did he go? How did he look? What was his first words, his last words? Where did he eat? What was his favorite fast food? No, I'm just kidding. See it if you're awake. All this information, Amanda, is coming to us when we read the Gospels about Jesus. What's most important about his teaching? Where did he teach? What towns, cities? How did he teach? What language? What speech did he use? Was he famous? Was he scorned? Was he hated? Was he loved? We're getting all this data from the Gospels. And then, if you have a good priest up there or a deacon who's going to preach, he's explaining all this. So you don't have to touch your cursor, right? He's right there. He's telling you anything you want to know. Doc, you have a question. If you get a good priest who's smart, right? You could ask him to say it in Hebrew, say it in Greek. You could ask him what axios means. What's amin mean? What's amin mean in Hebrew, for example? Huh? No. What's amin? Who knows Hebrew here? Amin is Hebrew, right? Amen, amen, amin. Takbud. Hey, give this guy, you get a prize, right? So be it. And this preacher is out there, he's telling you everything you ever wanted to know about religion, about Jesus Christ. What a wonderful computer that is, right? And then we get to how to live, how to die. Things that the computer can't even begin to address. All the good things about life important, how to love, how to give and serve, how to help people, the meaning of life. Does your computer tell you the meaning of life? The meaning of the stock market on Friday night? Right? Or is your computer, you ever see that question on Google, the meaning of life? I don't, not too often, right? That's what the liturgy does. So the 300s, when they put out this liturgy, right? Here you have this font of information that the people gathered to hear every Sunday morning. Every Sunday morning. Information. Sometimes there was a missionary out there, traveled the world. He'd tell you all about Ukraine and the Black Sea and the sea travels and ship travels. And the missionaries would be there often to preach and tell you about their journeys, about what they saw, about the Christians here, there, and everywhere. Here, there, and everywhere. So you're right. Information is why you get on Google and the computer, and information is why the liturgy exists today. And people come to hear it. And if you have a good priest who's well-versed, he'll pass off all this information with his readings and explain the readings, right? And tell you everything you want to know. Now there's another purpose to have a computer besides information. You know what that would be? What's another reason you like a computer?
You can store information.
You can store it, keep it.
Learn.
What else?
Learn.
You learn the information.
Communication.
Communication. Mikey gets a prize. All right? Write down Mikey's name.
We did.
Communication. See you later. One of the terrific things about a computer, right? If you want to find out what your priest said today in a town that your folks came from, like Stara Korova or something like Old you can Skype over there, right? Get on Skype In 30 seconds, you can tie in and communicate with your Wiko or Teta, right? And find out exactly what Otet Stambaranyak said. Amazing thing. You can communicate any part of the world. You can communicate with people here, there, and everywhere, with geniuses and with stupid people. And you can communicate with anybody who's ever existed. If you want to talk and have somebody read Einstein's diaries for you, they'll do that on a computer. The most genial fellow, in our century. Right? Exactly. You can communicate with anybody in the world. The greatest teachers, thinkers, writers, poets, actors, actresses, politicians. You can communicate with that computer throughout the world. And it's a wonderful thing. But in our divine liturgy, right, you can communicate with all your family when you gather Sunday morning, with all your friends, because they'll be there if they're your friends, with all your neighbors, all the people in the town, the village, the doctors, the lawyers, the hard workers, the retirees, the young, the old. You can communicate with each other because we have a network at that divine liturgy, because we share a treasure. We share our faith. You can communicate at the liturgy with a theologian, if your priest is a theologian, with a philosopher, with a linguist, with a historian. If you have a question about, we just ask about Amin, what it means. You can, any question you want to ask or communicate, you can do that if you have a beautiful Christian Catholic church like we have here, and you have a priest who's willing to share his knowledge. You can, besides communicating, there's something special about the type of communication you get at a liturgy you don't have on Google. You know what you get? You get understanding communication. You get comforting communication. Mike tells me, Charlotte, Charlene is sick today. I can comfort him. I can tell we're going to pray for her. I can tell him she's going to be fine. She's young yet. What is she, 40 years old?
She's going to be 50 this year.
Oh, man, don't put the secrets. I don't put it here. All right. You get comforting communication. Let's say the Eagles lose next week, and Chris is coming with his eyes crying. He lost $50. He can't tell his wife. He bet the dog or something this week. He lost the dog. I bet he would too. And Chris needs comforting. You don't get that on Google. Mr. Google's not going to stick his head through that tube and say, hey, live it. You'll be fine, right? So it's a different type of communication you get in church. In church, at the Divine Liturgy, you get people there who love you and understand you and are thrilled to see you and understand life in their older people, younger people. And when you hear a baby cry in church and see a baby smile, you can forget some of your problems about getting old like myself. When I hear a baby, I've got hope yet, There's life out there, wow. So it's a different type of communication at the liturgy. That's why it's such a special type of computer. It's a living computer. In Ukraine we say, it's alive, that divine liturgy that we have in church. And if you have a good liturgy and a good church, a vibrant church, it's a blessing. Because many times you don't have that. It may be boring, it may be tiresome, it may not be very comforting or communicative. But if you have a good liturgy, you can sense that you're receiving something. You're getting something. You learned something. You saw somebody. I was a young fellow. I loved to go to church because it was a lot of people there, a lot of young people. And in those days, the girls and fellows dressed up, and all the girls dresses and high heels and makeup and hairdos, and the fellows had ties and suits. I only had one or two suits, but I had to wear a suit and tie to church. And it was fun because you'd see all the young people. You'd make plans to go fishing with the boys down at Huck Finn Creek, and you'd look at all the girls and hope that they look back at you, It was a wonderful thing. Because you'd see the old people and they would say, hey, son, jak tato, how's Tido? You'd talk to these older folks that ask about your folks. And it was a communication thing that you can't be beat. You couldn't be beat. Because there were caring people there. These weren't strangers. These weren't strangers. These were people who knew and loved you. And that's why it's such a more perfect computer than you have on your desk at home. because it was alive. It was alive. And you could reach out and touch your buddy. You know, I can see Bob on the computer, he looking good, he didn't shave today, but when I reach out and I say, you know, that's human. That's Christian. That's real Christian faith and love and hope. When you can reach out and touch somebody, that's why the computer, the divine liturgy as a computer is superior to what we have on your desk at home. Because your computer on your desk at home, no matter how lively Mr. Google may look on a given morning, right? Is there a Mr. Google?
I don't believe so.
No. There should be, right? Could be Donald Trump in disguise and then making all that extra money.
I don't think so.
But let me tell you this. So the communication is paramount. That is so important that the liturgy, if you have a good liturgy, there'll be communication will take place. You know, Buddha sabi komunikasyon. If you have a good liturgy. Because, I mean, you'll go out of that church knowing you learned, you saw, you heard, you were able to reply and respond, and you're able to, you know, get back with these people and tell them what's up. So, the main thing is the communication is full of love in the church. That's not your typical home computer. It's full of friendship. It's full of give and take. You know, I'm looking for information about this, that, or third thing. I'm asking you, yak chilavik, yak mama, yak tata. It's a beautiful thing, the communication in church. And the priest keeps, a good priest will turn around and look you in the eye and when he's going to give you a blessing and say, peace. No matter what's bothering you, the whole world, right? The job, the wife, the husband, the kids, the grandma. And he says, Rita, peace. Right? He looks you in the eye and says, peace. I mean, that's powerful. You don't get that on Google, right? You're lucky you get a wink and a nod out of that. But there's a third thing I want to tell you about a difference. Now, there's something else I think you probably might answer. A third reason why you get on a computer. We talked about information. We talked about communication. There's a third reason I want to leave you with. And I'm going to write this down because maybe somebody can think of this. I don't know. Can anybody think of another reason why you go on it? Because a computer is what? What does it do for you? Get you out of bed or
If you're busy.
kill time?
Well, it's fast.
It's fast. All right.
Pay bills.
How about this word right here? Would you agree with this?
What is it?
Do you think a computer is exciting? Well, there's games on there, right? Right? I mean, you can find out news quick, right? There's some excitement there, I would say. When I get on the computer, I have some excitement because you can get a score, you can get a bet, you can find out the date of George Washington's horses.
It depends what you have.
Well, I'm saying, but there's some, because what's exciting about it, I think, if you get into programs where you see all the bells and whistles, right? And you see the colors flashing, I mean, that really catches your attention. And I think that's one of the big attractions, especially for younger people, right? Because younger people are typically bored quickly. And if you see somebody run across the computer screaming at his mind, what's going on, right? And you see a guy chasing him with a hatchet, and you see a woman chasing the guy with the hatchet, and she has a gun, and you say, whoa, something's going on here, George. Someone's going to kill somebody. How about being an eyewitness, be in court next week? You know, it's exciting in a sense that it's well done. And you see colors, and you see movement. And you see that cursor flipping, flopping all around, saying that cursor all of a sudden jumps off the side. Where'd he go? You look on the back of the computer, he back, come in the back door, he back on. And I think that's a part of it when I see kids anyway. And it's stimulating in that sense. You usually don't sleep when you're watching a computer because, you know, something's going to happen. It yells at you, right? If you don't do anything in 5 minutes with it, it's a computer. Bark at you, shut down, or what?
Shuts off.
That's it. See that? Sounds like one of my old girlfriends. You know, after you didn't talk to her for a couple of months, you don't want to talk to her. But here's what. So computers, I think, have some basic excitement factor in them, and I think that's what's keeping everybody hooked on them. But divine liturgy understood this. And so from the 300s, they began forming this service we call liturgia in Ukrainian, in Greek liturgia. And what they did, they made sure there's built-in excitement. For example, you have the colors. right? Every day of the year, you have to wear a different color. Vestments, altar cloths, altar boys start, right? Vestments, different colors. If it's a martyr, you wear red. If it's a St. Nicholas, a hero, you would wear green maybe. If it's Mary, you wear blue. They give you the color scheme. When I was a kid, we had a pious old lady. She wasn't all terribly there, but she was a good lady. And she used to buy me coffee sometimes when I was in Catholic University at the cafeteria in the morning. A wealthy lady. And she would, everybody knew her, I think it was Mary. She would dress with the liturgical colors of the day. So if there was a saint, you looked in a book and there was a martyr, she wore red. And if it was a Marian feast, you know, Mariska Strat, she wore all blue. Blue from her nose to her toes. This lady was so pious, beautiful lady. We used to tease her, you know. And I forget what we called it, pobojna money or something. But she wore it. She understood this because colors are important. And of course we have bells, and we have candles, and we have incense, so no one falls asleep in church. And they gag and cough a little bit and end up asleep. We got all these things going on. Altar boys lined up at the cathedral. We had so many altar boys they couldn't have room for. And they lined up there, and they're having these processions around, and they're walking and holding candles and flags, you know, like they had in the old country. When you see some of the Place gatherings, they're whipping them flags around. They got staffs. There's excitement here, Doc. I don't know. What do you think? It could be exciting?
Sure.
I'll tell you what. I was a kid. In the old church, St. Peter and Paul Carnegie, we had a priest named Father Kuchar. And he was in his 80s. He looked like he was 200. I mean, that's how he walked. He walked very slowly. He was having studied equality. When I was a kid, if you lived to 80, it was a miracle. The average lifespan of man was like 50 when I was a kid, you know. And so he was barely making it, this guy. They had this thing on Sunday morning. And what they used to do on Sunday morning is that they would have the procession with the Evangelion, right? And you know how big our big gospel book is we can't use every day, right? Bigger than that. The gospel book was this big. So two curatori, what do they call it? Curatori? Ushers? How do you call it?
Curator.
Yeah, curator. Had to walk, each one held his arm, right? And he wouldn't walk just around the altar. He ran down to the back of the church and up the main aisle. So people could maybe have a chance to kiss the gospel and all, right? And when he walked, you never knew whether he would make it or not. It was like a horse race. And if you didn't know your horse, it was a bum leg, is going to make it to the finish line. And you didn't want to win, you just want your horse to make it to the finish line. Last, if he made last. And everybody would look at him. And the whole mob was praying. So this poor priest could finish his course. Finish his course. That was the most exciting thing to me because I was a kid. I was, ooh, you know, ooh, because he would teeter-totter, you know, and the fellas would get him. And some of the guys holding him up were as old as he was. They were the short, like, chubby guys, you know, they got this priest, and they're holding him up. And you never knew, like, he fell down a couple of times, and they had to rush some younger fellas out there to pick up the fellas who were picking up the priest. But we always had excitement. And you know, and whenever they had these customs, it's not part of the liturgy so much, but they do Doc, he world traveler. But I bet you he never heard of this. No, more than that. And stop the service, somebody would tap the priest on his shoulder, right? And alert the choir, and they would sing a verse of No Hayalita, with this guy gave $5. Everybody said, No Hayalita for this guy. I said, who is he? It's John. It's a doctor in town. Oh, Boże, be Allah be the And they would walk up and during the go up and shake his head. Yeah, you know, die from Boże. And then people, they made this exciting. It was a happy place, you know, and everybody was happy. They would sing. And man, if you gave a $10 bill, Doc, that was it. Everybody sat down. Maybe 2-3 litas. They'd sing a Multos for this old guy. And that guy was up there standing. Yeah, that's me. I gave $10. As my tata would say, see that's Dr. Johnson, Dr. Kuzemko. We had Dr. Kuzemko, nice doctor. Dr. Kuzemko, oh, he gave $10. So, that's something, $10. I don't think I ever saw a $10 bill. But in any case, the divine liturgy was designed to be exciting and stimulating so that nobody would sleep.
so nobody would be bored. And the priest is there, and the altar boys, they would have fans, you know, they call it Lapidia. Lapidia, they would have fans, the altar boy would hold these fans so no flies would get into the sacred species, and they wave these fans. And then and the altar boys would hold the veils, and the deacon would be there sometimes to help, and the subdeacon. I mean, it was devised as a drama. Divine liturgy was a drama. And different kinds of dramas. There's tragedies, there's comedies, but it was a special religious drama, and it was designed to stimulate the people and make you want to share this. Like that priest said, in peace. Let's pray for peace today. Let's all pray to the Lord. You know, North Korea, South Korea, everybody. You know, Yemen. We're at fighting in Niger now. We're fighting all over the world, and we need peace in this world so bad. And they're fighting here in Washington D.C. There's a war between the republics. Can't agree on what they want. And the priest says, folks, today, in peace, let's pray for peace. And the people call out. Instead of saying, yeah, boy, or something, they say, you know, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy on us. You know, that's what hospitality means, right? Yeah. And the priest would say another intention. Let's pray for all the people who are suffering and sick. You know, and people said, Lord, have mercy on them. And so it's what they call back and forth. You know, it's a dialogic type of liturgy. So that if you don't say amen, I can't go on. I can't continue because I don't know what you feel about the last thing I said. You know, you don't want peace and you shut up. I figure we gotta sit down and have a talk about this thing. You know, we pray for the sick and the healthy and the working and the men and the women and the grandma, and you don't say anything. I'm wondering, well, where are you on this issue? Are you against grandmas? You know, you don't like grandpas to put out the huge shop. You know, so you have to. It's yours. See, the priest is the leader, but it's your prayer. It was designed for you. So you can cover all your bases. You pray for the weather, for the crops. You pray for our friends in foreign countries, persecuted friends. And we even pray for the sailors at sea, the sick, and those who might be in need. And so it's your spiritual computer. And I'm just the leader, and I have to lead you through this. And I'm not exactly a young fellow, but I'll tell you, to do a good job. And this may be why some of the priests have difficulty. It takes a lot of energy, I get tired. If I do a good liturgy, preach a good sermon, read a good gospel, smile for 1 hour straight, right? I'm tired. You know what I mean, Boris? That's knocking me out. It's like 8 hours. I used to do pick and shovel for 8 hours. This is heavy. This is heavier on my heart, mind, and soul. Go pick and shovel, you know, you think no problem. Pick a little bit, shovel a little bit. I was strong and young, right? Anybody could pick and shovel. But to get out there and give your heart and soul. I never gave my heart and soul to that jackhammer. I hated him. I wouldn't even talk to him. Monday morning I was a kicker. And Friday I drove in a bit 95-pound jackhammer I ran. But we only got 5 minutes. But I want to tell you one last thing. One last thing I think might be important. Divine liturgy provides something we call, fancy word, right? You can write this word down, you get it. Connectivity. We're connecting personally with our friends, with our neighbors, with all the beautiful young ladies and all the handsome fellas and all the kids and all the teachers and all the ushers and all the people. We're connecting. And that's what I love about the liturgy. I can see your face. I know what you're thinking. I've been here. I understand what your problems are. I hear your complaints. I know what, you know, that connectivity is a major thing that you can't get on your computer. And they built this in this liturgy. So when a priest turns around and looks at the people and says, let's pray to the Lord. He looks you in the eye. He's asking, please, let's pray. And you say, Lord, have mercy. Kyrie eleison, whatever language you want there, right? Domine eleison. So that's the main thing that you have on your, and that's why I think the liturgy of divine is just like a computer, probably better in many ways. Because a computer can teach you about life, right? But the liturgy can teach you all about this life and the next life. A computer can't teach you about love. It can't teach you about hope. You don't close your portal there. You don't get a lot of hope, do you? You're glad it's over. You paid the bills. You saw the weather's going to rain all week. Where's the hope? But liturgy gives you hope. That we're gathered here and we're together. No matter what happens, Monday, we're here now. We're together. And so that's why it's more powerful than a computer. It can provide you peace, provide you with love, provide you with a happy tomorrow, so you can smile a little bit today. You know what I mean, Mikey, when the boss is on your shoulders and weighing so heavy on you, and you come here, you're like a saint, Saint Mikey. You fix all the coffee, you help all the people, right? Don't you love Mikey?
Oh, yeah.
You can give him a big hug later on. I love Mikey. You know,
No saint.
I appreciate Boris and Bogdan and all the fellows here today. Chris helps us out so much. I'm embarrassed to tell you. And Georgie, our principal and doctor here, helps the sick and raises up the dying. I know all this, and that's why I respect and love it. I'm so happy to see you. I'm thrilled to be here. I should pay the parish to be here. That's what I feel. You think that? No, maybe I shouldn't. Because I'm here with the best people in the world. I'm here with these Dr. Tatiana and beautiful Mark. I'm here with all these beautiful people in the world. And so, because we have our divine liturgy. And that's the centerpiece of our gathering. This is a bit of an auxiliary thing. The divine liturgy is why we're here today. And so, my final words are, the liturgy teaches us about the next world, the computer of this world. Liturgy teaches us about how to gain love and peace and hope, and our dreams fulfilled. How we can find a good tomorrow, a better next week. A computer can't do that. Our liturgy teaches us about people, the saints, about the angels, about all of our parents who may have died, and grandparents, and how they're doing in heaven, and how we're going to pray for them because they're praying for us. Liturgy teaches us about Christ. Christ is not a computer. Jesus Christ is in our hearts, and not our divine liturgy. And then at the very end, when your computer's shutting down, the priest gives out a call. So stracom Bože, come now. Come to Christ. Prejdite. Pristupi. And all the people stand up. And they're walking to Christ. Just imagine that excitement and image. And we're all together. I'm walking with you, you're walking with Bogdan, you're walking with the blood. We're all together in this, Mikey. We're all walking to Christ. That's the divine liturgy. That's the power of that divine liturgy. So that's why it's so more powerful than our computers. And so what I want you to realize and think that I make this comparison, this analogy, not just for fun, but I believe it's really true. That divine liturgy is the original computer, because it allows us to communicate, allows us to connect, allows us to gather, gain, garner information, right? The best thing about this divine liturgy, it allows us to do it all together. Instead of being holed up in your den, right, all by yourself, because yeah, it allows us to do this together with our loved ones. All of our buddies, like Amanda back there, right, Amanda? Live down the street, my neighbor here, and all of our buds are here. All of our pals, our mates, our people, our brothers and sisters. That's the beautiful thing, right? Yeah. It's like a team. We're a team, right, George?
That's right.
Good as Penn State. You watch the game last night?
Beginning to end, yeah.
They enjoy. He's a big Penn State fan. He lives in Nittany Lions. And so thank you all for listening. Now, don't go away because we have to give all these prizes out, all right? You enjoy yourself today?
Yes.
You learned something?